Alright, Toya, so we're going to be making some Swiss meringue buttercream today. And it's actually just 4 ingredients, 4 simple ingredients. The first one you want, I'm going to do half a recipe, but if you can double it very easily. So I have 10 ounces of butter that I brought to room temperature. Let it soften, don't microwave it, don't do any of that, just let it naturally come to room temperature. It works better that way. And I cut it up and dice into smaller cubes because you want to make sure that these smaller cubes are easy to dissolve in your frosting. So we have, what did I say? 10 ounces of butter. Now we're going to use regular granulated sugar, just regular table sugar, not powdered sugar, not sanding sugar. And this one we're going to need 8 ounces or half a pound. Again, you can double it if you want. Then we have egg whites. This is 4 ounces of egg whites, and yes, I actually use the scale to measure all my ingredients, but 4 ounces is roughly 4 grade A large eggs. Make sure there's no yolk in there, and once you got that all, you want to set that aside. And then the last one here is vanilla extract. Now, if you use vanilla extract, you're going to get kind of a, I want to say a beige flavor. It's going to change the color because vanilla is a dark brown color. You can find clear vanilla. You can use almond extract. It does have a different flavor. I mean, it doesn't really matter. So just keep in mind, if you want just a pure white frosting, you probably want to go get a clear vanilla or use almond extract instead. So now that we have all our ingredients together, I'm going to show you how to put it together. Now, the equipment that you're going to need is a stand mixer. Now, if you have a stand mixer, awesome. If you don't, I would invest in getting one, because especially if you're going to do a lot of cake, a lot of frostings, it's a lot easier than using one of those handheld ones. In this one, you're going to have to let it kind of whip for a while, so using a stand mixer leaves it, makes it a lot easier for you. You're also going to need a double boiler, and a double boiler is simply a pot with about 1.5 inches of water inside, not a lot, and then a bowl, a metal bowl or a stainless steel bowl. You can use glass, but don't use plastic. And then it sits over top. Now you want to make sure that the bottom of the bowl stays dry and it's not wet when you put it on top. Once you get it on the stove, it's going to get hot and it's going to get wet, but from right now you want to make sure that it's not touching the actual water, and that's perfect. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start cooking our frosting. Okay, so on my stove I'm going to kind of simmer it. I don't want to boil it, I don't want too much steam coming out. I just want to get this water hot, and I want to get my bowl warm because that's going to be what's going to cook our sugar. Now, the difference between Swiss meringue buttercream and Italian meringue buttercream is how you cook this part. Now, this part requires you to cook the egg whites, of course, but instead of cooking it with a simple syrup, we are going to actually cook the whites and the sugars together. And it's going to have this really crazy, amazing texture. Because what you're going to get is the whites are going to start to break down and it's going to become liquefied. And what you're going to look for is you're going to actually take your finger in there and you're going to, sorry about that, someone came in my room. So anyway, I forgot what I was saying. I think I was saying you're going to feel it, make sure there's no grains of sugar in there, and then you'll know you're really good to go. And then you can transfer this into your stand mixer. You will need a spatula. No, you don't. No, because you don't want those grains of sugar. Forgot about that. So my pan is getting nice and warm, and so now I'm going to add my sugar and my whites. So just pour it right in there. And right in there. It looks weird, trust me, it's not. It's going to melt, well, it's going to dissolve. So we're just going to kind of mix it. We're gonna let the bowl, the sides of the bowl, heat up your egg and your sugar mixture. And what you want is you want that sugar to just all dissolve. And we're just gonna whip this over a double boiler till it's no longer grainy. Hold it, whisk it to you. You get better traction. Try to get one that has a nice handle. Those little wire whisks, they hurt. And I'm just going to just sort of mix, mix, mix. And if you want, you can try to start testing it now, finger, and you can feel little grains of sugar. That's what you don't want. So we're just gonna keep going. I should have got my mixer, my standing mixer ready, but I didn't. Starting to look like almost like meringue, steps of meringue, and that's what essentially what we're doing. We're making a meringue. Now we want to, at this point we can start kind of getting those grains of sugar around the edges, but when we are finished, we're going to pour this out. So this is where a spatula would go handy, but we don't want to scrape any extra sugar. So just keep that in mind. It's going to be weird. You're going to feel like you want to scrape the bowl, but don't, because you don't want those extra crystals of sugar in there. Alright, so I'm going to test it again to my fingers. It's starting to get there. Make sure you clean your fingers after each time so that you don't have any residual, which I do, residual sugar on your hand. So you can have a little bit more accurate feel. Oh, getting there. It's not grainy anymore. It's almost looking like marshmallow fluff. We know that we're getting there. At this point, you don't want to start grabbing that sugar around the edges because you don't want those extra crystals. Feeling it again. It's getting there. So what we are doing essentially is we're cooking our egg whites at this point. It's slow, and we're also cooking it over a steady heat. So if you look, there's no roiling boil coming. It's just a little bit of steam, and that's what you want. That steam is heating up my sugar, heating up my eggs, getting everything all together. It looks really good. So now I'm going to test it again. Still a little grainy. And while that's going, I'm going to just go run and grab my stand mixer really quickly. You want the whisk attachment. Alright, so now I'm back and stir, 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 stir. Test. We're almost there. Again, you can double this recipe. If you do double it, make sure you use a bigger bowl, bigger pot. You can even triple it. I've never tripled it, but I'm pretty sure you can. So now you're starting to see it's changing color. It's almost looking like a marshmallow fluff. And that's what we want. So just get in there and just kind of whisk, 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 whisk. wash my hands and test my sugar. Good, finger in. That's good, no more grains. So now I'm ready to transfer my sugar into a mixer. So it's just gonna come over here to my stand mixer, and done with this, don't need this anymore. Just wanna pour again, remember, don't scrape your bowl. Just pour it. You're gonna wanna scrape it, but don't, because then you'll get all those extra larger crystals and you don't want those. Then we're gonna turn this on, and what we're doing is we're cooling down our meringue, and we're also whipping it to make it a full puffy meringue. And what you want is just to whip it until it starts to recede, and it stops crawling up the sides of the bowl. And so I'll show you that. Alright, so now it's starting to look like meringue, starting to look like a marshmallow fluff, which is perfect. And we're actually wanting to cool this down before we start adding our butter, because we'll melt the butter. That may be an issue if you have too hot of a meringue and you start adding your butter, it melts, it becomes really oily, and you have that soup. If that happens, the best thing to do is just keep whipping it. Sometimes it'll start to fix itself, sometimes you just start all over. So now I'm going to lower it to a lower speed, and we're just going to let it cool down. Sides of the bowls, just feel it. It's not hot at all. So I'm actually going to start by adding my butter. You know what? I don't think I left it out long enough, so it is softened. So we're going to add the butter one at a time and let it kind of incorporate. And I am going to spread it up a little bit. And it is going to have that weird texture shift in a little bit, so don't be alarmed. But we really want to just make sure that our butter just kind of is added and it's incorporated, and it gets all the big chunks out. Starting to loosen up a little bit, that's fine. But you want to make sure that all those big chunks of butter get mixed in there. tell that it's starting to melt, or the butter is starting to go a little bit slower because it's getting colder, which is fine. You just got to make sure that you just one tab of butter at a time. You don't want too much in there. And I'm actually a purist, so I don't add my vanilla, but alright, so now it gets that weird seepy look. Don't panic, because it's going to pull itself back out. Okay, last butter. And then we're just going to turn on the mixer and just let it kind of mix. And then I'm gonna go get a spatula and I'm gonna scrape down my sides and I'll be right back. So I am gonna add a little bit of vanilla just because. So it is, that's what I said. It is 1 teaspoon of vanilla. So I'm just whipping it. Now I'm going to just kind of scrape down the sides. Oh my gosh, it's so soft. Oh my gosh, it's so good. And it was so easy. I used to love to make Italian meringue buttercream, but it did require a little bit more science, I guess. And this one I found to be easier, and it's pretty much foolproof, but it yields just as good as the Italian meringue, if not better. I actually like this one better. Just whip it. And it's just coming together, looking good. There you have it. Swiss meringue buttercream. Soft, easy to spread. Freaking amazing. It doesn't have that weird, overly powdered sugar flavor. I love using this. I love this recipe. So go home, make it, show me what you got. So you don't plan on using it all right now, or even using it now? You can put it in the refrigerator. You can even freeze it. Let it come to room temperature before you work with it. Put it under the stand mixer, kind of whip some more air into it, and you got buttercream. I usually just make a bunch and I put it in the freezer so that whenever I need it, I can just pull it out. Now, if you taste it and it's a little too buttery for you, not sweet enough, then you can definitely add a little bit more vinegar. Personally, I don't like it overly sweet, like the canned mix you get at the store. I like it to have a little bit more of a fluffier flavor. But you can also use all kinds of extracts. Almond extract. I would not suggest butter flavor extract. It's not very good. But there's lemon extract, cherry extract. Sounds delicious, but it actually tastes like NyQuil, so don't do that one. But try a lot of them. Go to a cake store and they have what's called like flavored extracts. I have Bulgarian cream. Amazing. So just play around with it. Have fun.